All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to break down a playbook that completely flips the script on leadership. It's not about your title, it's about what you do. And these are skills you can start using like right now. So let's get to it. So let's kick things off with a big question. When I say the word leader, what pops into your head? Is it someone with a fancy title? The person in the big office? The one who's supposed to have all the answers? Well, the ideas we're exploring today are going to challenge all of that, right from the get-go.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Leadership is not a spectator sport. It has way less to do with how many books you've read about it and everything to do with consistent, repeated action. It's about the habits you build. It's an act, not a job title.
Okay, so where do you even start with all this? Well, it's not with your team. It's not about them. It's about you. The very first part of this playbook is all about mastering what's going on inside your own head. Because let's be real, you can't lead anyone else if you can't lead yourself first.
And this leads us to a really simple, but honestly game-changing idea. The red mind versus the blue mind. The red mind? That's your reactive brain. It's that fight or flight, stressed out feeling when your emotions just kind of take the wheel. But the blue mind, that's your calm, rational, thoughtful self. That's you at your best. And we all have both, all the time.
And if you're wondering just how powerful that red mind can be, oh boy, let me tell you about this famous psychological experiment. It's called the Jerusalem to Jericho study, and it's a wild look at how our situation can sometimes just completely steamroll our good intentions.
So, picture this. You've got a group of theology students, people literally studying how to be good, and they're asked to prepare a presentation. Now, the researchers intentionally tell some of them that they're running late. On their way, they walk right past an actor who's pretending to be sick and needs help. And get this, some of them were literally on their way to give a talk about the Good Samaritan. The irony is just wow.
And what happened next is, well, it's pretty shocking. Of the students who were told they were in a hurry, the ones deep in that stressed out red mind state, only 10% stopped to help. 10%. Some of them literally stepped over the person. And here's the kicker. These weren't bad people. It's just that the red mind makes our world so small that we can become blind to what's right in front of our faces. Okay, so how do you break out of that red mind trap? There's a super simple 3-step tool. First, just pause and ask yourself, am I in red or blue right now? Just asking the question forces a little pause and wakes up your blue mind. Second, you decide. How do I actually want to handle this? What does my best self do here? And third, you act. You make that better choice on purpose. It's like the story of Stefan, who after a brutal day at work just sat in his car for a minute, asked that question, and decided to walk into his house in a blue state for his family. That tiny pause changed his entire evening.
All right, so once you've started to get a handle on your own state, you can finally turn your focus outward. Because how you show up has a massive ripple effect on your team. And that brings us to the single most important ingredient for a high-performing team.
And that ingredient, believe it or not, is psychological safety. I mean, Google, of all places, studied hundreds of their own teams to figure out what made the best ones tick. And it wasn't having the smartest people in the room. Nope. The number one thing that set the great teams apart was whether people felt safe with each other. But what does it even mean, psychological safety? Well, it's pretty simple. It's a feeling. It's the belief that you won't get punished or humiliated for speaking up with an idea, admitting a mistake, or asking a question. It's feeling safe enough to say, hey, I actually disagree with that without fearing for your job. That's the magic ingredient for trust and real innovation.
And look, the flip side of this is pretty scary. When there's no safety, people don't take risks. Good ideas never see the light of day. Mistakes get swept under the rug until they turn into huge disasters. Everybody just agrees with the boss and collaboration dies. People are too busy protecting themselves to do great work. This is where you, as a leader, really come in. Because safety starts with you. You have to model it. Be the first one to say, you know what, I messed that up, or I actually don't know the answer to that. When you do that, you make it okay for everyone else to be human too. It's your vulnerability that actually gives your team permission to be vulnerable, and that's where the breakthroughs happen.
So you've got this foundation of safety. Now what? Now we can talk about motivation. And I'm not talking about the old carrot and stick approach, bonuses and threats. We're talking about the stuff that actually makes people want to show up and do their best work.
Because, let's be real for a second, we have a massive engagement problem. Just look at these numbers from Gallup. They're kind of depressing, honestly. The vast majority of people around the world are just checked out at work. And as a leader, that's your problem to help solve.
So, if the old way doesn't work, what does?
Well, research points to 3 deep human needs. We all crave autonomy, the feeling that we have some control over our work. We need competence, that feeling that we're good at what we do and we're getting better. And we need purpose, a sense that our work matters. Your job as a leader isn't to motivate people, but to create a place where they can motivate themselves by meeting these 3 core needs.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. This last part is all about the toolkit. 2 super practical frameworks you can start using in your very next conversation, especially the tricky ones. This is where the rubber meets the road.
First up, for your one-on-ones, try using the shift model. The goal here is to stop solving everyone's problems and start coaching them to solve their own. You scan for a challenge, help them identify the real hurdle, figure out the incentive for fixing it, and, this is the most important part, you focus on their ideas first, then you land on specific tactics. And that's the real magic, right? You're empowering them. You go from being the expert to being the coach.
And what about those conversations that, we all put off? Accountability. We usually wait until we're so frustrated that we just explode. Well, the accountability dial gives you a better way. It's a roadmap for handling it calmly and fairly. You start small with a casual mention, then an invitation to talk. If nothing changes, you have a more formal conversation. Then you set a clear boundary, and only after all that do you hit the final limit. It's a structured, respectful process that takes a ton of the stress out of it.
So that's the playbook. We've talked about starting with your own mindset, building safety, unlocking real motivation, and using some practical tools. But listening is the easy part. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? Out of everything we just talked about, what is the just one, non-negotiable action you will commit to trying this week? Because that's where leadership really happens.